This is Subgroup's 2 oral presentation on our education policy for St. Lucia for the period 2022-2023.
Meet the reflective practitioners of Subgroup 2. The group leader, Natoya Collymore, who's a strong read-or-write learner. Myself, Makessa Oje, a multimodal learner. Shanoa Evans, a kinesthetic learner. Jamaica Doctrine, a multimodal learner. Elizabeth Ayuso, an oral learner. Luvanna Brooks, a kinesthetic and oral learner. And Sienna Campbell, a multimodal learner.
What is an education policy? Education policies are programs based on decisions by educational administrators or legislatures about how to conduct the education of children and students seeking higher learning skills. Goals and objectives. Goal 1. Provide educational devices such as laptops and tablets for 1,000 students and teachers by December 2022, then another 1,000 by December 2023. This will be achieved through financial donations from government, community organizations, and parents. Once purchased, the devices will be distributed and a spreadsheet database will keep track of all distributions. Goal 2. Provide internet service via Wi-Fi/MiFi to all communities by August 2023. Collaboration with various internet providers and the government to provide free high-speed, high-bandwidth Wi-Fi via ICT centers in all communities or portable Wi-Fi/MiFi. Goal 3. Provide 8 weeks of computer training for parents, teachers, and students once per semester. Computer training will be held at the different schools and community centers by government teachers and technical volunteers. This will ensure that all in the education section is computer literate if virtual classes are implemented again.
Primary school level. The primary education sector was highly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, as many students and teachers were not equipped with the necessary skills and devices to maneuver through online learning and teaching. This policy focuses on strengthening this sector by setting the foundation for more proficient primary schoolers and educators post-COVID-19.
Stakeholders' involvement. The government of St. Lucia, parents and guardians, telecommunication companies, and community organizations can provide assistance to teachers, students, and parents through the provision of internet access, electronic devices, and technical training.
Situational analysis of the education system in St. Lucia post-COVID-19. In the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, existing issues within the education sector in St. Lucia were exacerbated. The issues of students' access to resources, teacher-student relationships, the effects of the domestic environment on students' behavior at school, and teachers' salaries are the most glaring problems that sought to be resolved.
Access to educational opportunities. When St. Lucia recorded its first case of COVID-19 in March of 2020, students were to remain home for an unspecified period of time. Online learning platforms like Google Classroom became the norm, as teaching was expected to continue despite students being away from the physical classroom. Consequently, the pre-existing issues with access to educational opportunities were exacerbated. A lack of internet access precluded many students from participating in online classes. The government of St. Lucia, telecommunications companies like Flow and Digicel, and privately owned establishments stepped in to donate MiFi, portable Wi-Fi devices to students in need. Students and teachers were also given electronic devices which were needed to access Google Classroom and alternative mediums used for online learning. Funding platforms like Global Partnership for Education also assisted St. Lucia by providing additional support to vulnerable students and teacher training for primary and secondary levels.
The current education system is not fit for purpose in the new norm post-COVID-19. Students and teachers are now required to be more technologically savvy. This education policy will significantly improve the education system for all involved in primary level education, resulting in higher productivity levels and eventually a higher standard of living for all students and teachers within this sector. The policy is practical as it provides different stakeholders to contribute to its effectiveness. Though financial assistance is critical, this policy does not entirely depend on one party to provide such service and is highly contingent on volunteer work and donations for better economizing. This plan can prevail regardless of whether or not the government provides funding, as the purpose of private stakeholders is to avoid the bureaucracy that may occur. The volunteer aspect is also feasible as it allows for the training of those who cannot afford to pay for it, and this will be provided by community and charitable organizations, thus cutting costs in the implementation of the policy.
One must ask ourselves, do we need training for teachers who are computer illiterate? Do students and parents also need training? After COVID-19, we must realize the necessity of computer literacy in today's schools and teach those who may require it. Technopedia 2012 states that computer literate people know how to use computers and other related technology. This pandemic has taught us the importance of preparing, especially since the Caribbean is prone to hurricanes and heavy rainfall. Instructors must be able to use technology to build their own personal and professional skills, as well as that of our children. Weekly training sessions can be held to prepare teachers and students for the inevitable. Teach children how to use the different platforms such as Zoom, Google Meet, and Microsoft Teams if school is closed or a student is sick, so they can connect to class to stay up to date. Teachers may use technology to enhance their teaching methods, which may include showing a video to reinforce a topic. Today's children are unique and learn in different ways. Now is the moment for teachers to look beyond notes and memorization. How about identifying each child's chosen learning style and nurturing it? Our nation's youth must be more computer and digitally literate. Regardless of how the pandemic has altered our lives, new techniques of educating our children have emerged via the promotion of computer literacy among all stakeholders in the school system.
Curriculum context and delivery. Do we need to adjust this in St. Lucia? During the pandemic, St. Lucia had an urgent need to view its educational policies to ensure inclusion and equity. In the sphere of education, the educational situation in St. Lucia was deteriorating due to extreme poverty and social class inequalities. The crisis had a profoundly negative impact on the educational sector, especially on the curriculum context and delivery. Within the framework of suspended face-to-face classes, educational continuity has conferred challenges with different remote options and solutions, including how the curriculum was implemented. In order to make adjustments amid COVID-19, it is imperative to take into cognizance the characteristics of national curricula, the country's resources, as well as extend to develop distant learning procedure, eliminate educational segregation and inequality. The pandemic has brought us to the realization that the context of the original curriculum needs to be modified to address certain knowledge and competencies which are more relevant to the current situation, and to make more readily available resources that counteract the present challenges. The truth of the fact is that the curriculum needs to be adjusted to prioritize and address the competencies and value in association with the current situation, which is the pandemic, and also influence self-directed learning, social emotional skills, health and wellness. The decision making of the criteria and approaches to adjusting the curriculum will pose a complex issue. As such, another alternative is to integrate content and learning objectives pertinent to students in line with current times. The curriculum should possess the flexibility, adaptability, and contextualization aimed to have a better comprehension and response to crisis situation and encourage reflective thinking, understanding of social and economical trends, among other things.
Role of reflexive practices in this education policy. Foundation for Learning Success assessment activities taught us that one must be a critical thinker who possesses self-awareness, self-directiveness, and self-empowering learning skills to be an effective reflective practitioner. Schoen's theory of reflection in action and reflection on action, 1983, was used to reflect during and after different events that help to highlight our strengths, our weaknesses, and different ways to enhance and improve them. This theory was also used to reflect on our management of time and ability to plan action. All these were essential skills to develop this policy. Self-empowered abilities learned were also critical in this process. They were useful in decision making and ensuring positive changes. Combs' 1984 learning cycle consists of a four-stage process: concrete experience, reflective observation of that experience, the abstract conceptualization of it, and the action to prevent it from happening again. This theory was used to reflect on our experiences of prior collaboration. Effective collaboration was a key component of this assignment. Collaboration with multiple partners and stakeholders from different sectors is critical to the development of any policy. It would be difficult, if not impossible, to do this alone. Driscoll's 1994 model of reflection was also employed to further review our collaborative experiences. By using the STEM questions, what, so what, and what now, we triggered experiential learning as we discussed and analyzed how to enhance our collaborative skills. Self-awareness, self-empowerment, good time management, and practical collaborative and planning skills were all acquired in this course and utilized to effectively develop an exceptional education policies. These skills learned have now been taken into our other courses, our homes, and our work lives. Reflexive practices now play a significant role in all aspects of our lives.
Benefits of reflective practice to the education policy includes helping to promote professional growth by carrying out an extensive inner thought process that enables a better understanding of one's strengths and weaknesses. Enhancing problem-solving skills by allowing educators to devise strategies and map out personalized techniques for students who struggle with access to technology or the internet. Develop critical and coping skills by stimulating the need for cognitive thinking and analytical skills. And lastly, to enhance self-motivation by encouraging the students to face and overcome their learning issues and problems when faced with transitioning to having their classes online. Implications, on the other hand, include poor time management by not having enough time to do a proper reflection process. It involves subjectivity and it lacks honesty with oneself. Reflective practice can be effective if a personal journal is maintained, as it provides a point of entry to develop and improve with daily practices. Provides an opportunity for student feedback, as it will help to understand the way learning is perceived and certain issues in the classroom that they face. And lastly, encouraging peer feedback, as it develops insights that are reflected upon and journalized. The relevance of reflective practice to education policy stems from disruptions and learning gaps created by school closures and other responses to the COVID-19 pandemic. St. Lucia, as well as majority of the world, resorted to emergency remote teaching to ensure continuity in the learning and teaching process. While it ensured the physical health of most citizens, this led to the exclusion and dropouts of students who could not afford technology and those living in rural areas where internet connectivity is an issue. In order to mitigate the challenges brought upon the pandemic, educators had to rethink and develop a curriculum that students of all income levels would be able to adapt to. During the pandemic, educators were tasked with the aspect of bringing in-class learning to online learning without creating mechanical routines and being able to engage with all the students.
Elizabeth is
Group
an oral
learner
learner
profile which tells the
whose
story
strengths
of this
include
group.
problem solving,
Natoya
multitasking,
Colombo,
and good
strong
communication.
read/write
Lavana
learner.
is an oral and
Strengths,
kinesthetic
good
learner
researcher,
who is also a good
note-taking,
problem solver
analysis,
and
and
communicator
creative.
with good
Weaknesses,
working
fear of
relationships.
collaboration,
Sienna is a
overthinker,
multimodal learner
perfectionist.
who has good
Makessa
analytic,
Oje,
written, and research
multimodal learner.
skills. They all share
Strengths,
similar
good writing
weaknesses,
and
such
communication
as time
skills,
management
reliable
and
and responsible.
procrastinating. Each
Weaknesses,
person's
aversion
strengths
to
were enhanced
collaborative work.
and their weaknesses improved
Shanoa
through
Evans,
practical
strengths, strong
strategies.
writing and analytical
Our
skills, good
experiences
initiative.
collaborating to develop
Weaknesses,
an
time
education
management,
policy was
procrastinator,
challenging and
balancing
rewarding.
work and dislikes
It
group
required
work.
strategic thinking on
Jamaica
how best to
doctrine,
approach the problem
multimodal
and
learner,
then
strengths, strong
proactively
reader
gather
and
and
avid
synthesize
researcher.
information and
Weaknesses,
feedback from group members.
procrastinator.
It also allowed us to observe
Our strengths were
peers'
utilized throughout this
strengths and improve our
assignment.
skills,
Group
which has
members
been a
also
great
proposed
learning
strategies which
experience for
allow them
future
to
collaboration.
successfully improve their weaknesses.
We also learned how to
learner
collaborate
profile, which
effectively
tells
by
the story of
recognizing
this
each
group.
person's strengths and weaknesses
Natoya
and
Colombo,
utilizing their
strong
strengths to benefit
read/write
the
learner.
assignment and assist
Strengths,
each
good
person with
researcher,
improving their weaknesses.
note-taking,
For example,
analysis,
we
and
use creative
creative.
minds in the
Weaknesses,
group
fear of
for the visual
collaboration,
presentation and
overthinker,
help those with
perfectionist.
procrastination
Makessa
issues
Oje,
by setting time
multimodal
schedules
learner.
and assigned tasks and
Strengths,
giving
good
gentle
writing and
reminders to
communication
ensure
skills,
completion of the
reliable
work.
and responsible.
To facilitate
Weaknesses, aversion to
communication for these
collaborative
assignments,
work.
we utilize
Shanoa
various
Evans, strengths,
platforms
strong
such
writing
as
and
Google
analytical
Meet,
skills,
WhatsApp,
good
Google
initiative.
Docs, and Zoom.
Weaknesses,
We were
time
always
management,
just a message away,
procrastinator, balancing
and
work
each
and
member was
dislikes
very
group work.
interactive in all
Jamaica
forums.
doctrine,
The most
multimodal
challenging
learner,
aspect of
strengths,
this
strong reader
assignment
and
was
avid
our
researcher.
different schedules and time
Weaknesses,
zones. To remedy this,
procrastinator.
adjustments were made to accommodate
Our
each
strengths were
member.
utilized throughout
While
this
some had to wake up
assignment.
very early
Group
for
members
meetings,
also proposed
some had to
strategies
test
which allow
plans,
them to
and others
successfully
had to
improve
skip
their
classes
weaknesses.
to attend meetings.
Group
We
learner
learned how
profile, which tells the
complicated
story of
education
this group.
policy making is,
Natoya
as we
Colombo,
reflected on the
strong
many impacts
read/write
COVID
learner.
had on our
Strengths, good
children,
researcher,
spouses,
note-taking,
siblings,
analysis,
and even
and
our
creative.
educational progress.
Weaknesses, fear of collaboration,
Countless adjustments
overthinker,
were made to
perfectionist.
adapt to the
Makessa
new norm.
Oje,
A group reflection was
multimodal
also
learner.
done on the mental
Strengths,
and
good
social
writing and
damage
communication skills,
post-COVID
reliable
that
and
we all
responsible.
continue to struggle
Weaknesses,
and cope with.
aversion to collaborative
By
work.
the end of this collaborative
Shanoa
task,
Evans,
we were all
strengths,
more
strong
knowledgeable
writing and
of the
analytical
different
skills,
reflective
good
theories and
initiative.
models. We
Weaknesses,
utilized the
time
future of the
management,
assignment to
procrastinator,
reflect on
balancing
some of
work
our
and dislikes
experiences
group work.
and skills learned
Jamaica
that were
doctrine,
useful to the
multimodal
successful
learner,
completion
strengths,
of
strong
this
reader and
assignment
avid
and our
researcher.
lives in general.
Weaknesses,